Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is June the 30th, 2017. This is my last show from the United States of America for about a month. I'm on my way to Hong Kong very, very soon. Today, we have some international guests, and we have a guy up in New York. I think Carlo's up in New York, at least.
Yes,
anyway,
sir.
Abraham Cambridge of the Sun Exchange down in Cape Town, South Africa. He's coming from Cape Town. Gabriel is coming from Fort Galt in Chile. And, of course, Carlo Vicaro, I hope I'm not butchering your name, of IOHK. You're up in New York, right?
New York City.
New York City.
I had my mic on mute, yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with Carlo because there is some Ethereum Classic news going down. Many of you maybe have heard about some issues with the Ethereum Classic wallet. Carlo, please tell us what's up with that.
So we'll do a little bit of a sandwich, some good stuff. Emerald, they're working hard on it, and it should be being released soon. But number one important thing, since security is number one to Ethereum Classic, is the Classic Ether wallet website was socially engineered, hacked, and it was taken over by some hackers as of last night, I believe at like 9 p.m. They got a hold of a phone number, and then they got a hold of the two-factor authentication, took over the site, and private keys are safe. So anything retroactive, there's no retroactive things they can do, but if someone during that period of an hour or so logged in and did anything with their private keys during that time, they might have had some issues and possibly had some Ethereum Classic stolen. But we're on it, and we kind of are aware of everything that's been going on with the private keys of people that logged in during that period of time, and we've got a pretty good handle on the situation. But at this point, we've already been in touch with Cloudflare, and now they have a warning up on the site. So if anyone were to go to that link, they would see that there's a scam, phishing warning, and all that stuff. So we think we've mitigated all the future problems that could occur from this until we gain control of the domain name back again. So we should be okay.
All right, I am glad we have that issue. We have that covered. So Ethereum Classic people, just be careful over there for now. It's going to be totally resolved eventually. So I just, we wanted to keep FUD under control. And Carlo, we've got a lot of Ethereum Classic stuff to cover with you. I'm sure you've got a lot to say, and we've got time to talk about everything in This Week in Bitcoin. Pound that like button, people, if you like hearing about up-to-date news that is just happening right now. So that's awesome. Let's jump over down to Cape Town, South Africa. And it is awesome to get a perspective from all over the world. Abraham, tell us, first of all, Abraham has been on the show before to talk about the Sun Exchange. And so many of you are familiar with it, but quickly go over what the Sun Exchange is and what news you have to bring to us about the Sun Exchange.
Cool, thanks, Adam. So I think it's my third time on your show. So yeah, I feel like getting to be a regular. So thanks for having me back. So the Sun Exchange is a crowdfunding platform that enables anyone in the world to buy solar panels that are powering African businesses and schools and communities, and then earn a Bitcoin income stream from them. And it's essential that we use Bitcoin because no other currency in the world is universal. We can transact with anyone. We can transact with people from the United States, Russia, China. We can basically transact with the world. We see Africa as the world's solar power station, and people can remotely put up their solar panels in Africa. So you can log onto our site, you can choose a project, you can put your solar panels in that project, you can pay us in Bitcoin, we'll pay you back in Bitcoin. You can pay in any other digital currency, but we'll pay you back in Bitcoin. And that's what we do. So we've been operating for about a year. Starting in Cape Town, we got a few solar plants running throughout the country, but we're starting to get a bit of notice in a bit further afield. So we actually got invited to compete in the global blockchain challenge in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates last month. Now, Dubai, if you're familiar with the city, they're techno crazy. They whatever they want to do, they want to do it the most high tech in the fastest time possible, and they're not afraid to do so. And the government of Dubai have laid down a challenge. They want to be the world's first blockchain powered city, so that everything's public, everything's automated, everything is completely almost corruption free because it's all public and immutable. And so we got invited to present with a few other businesses, well, 21 blockchain businesses from all around the world. So there's Everledger and Ben and a few other kind of big names in the space. But we came first, we won, and it's because Dubai also wants to become solar powered. They want to be the world's first solar powered city. So what we're presenting to them is essentially we can enable people in the city to buy solar panels in Dubai, and we can stream digitized solar money around the city in digital currency. And they bought into it, and we won first, and that was really good validation of what we're doing, because it's not just about Africa; it's about the whole world.
Oh, definitely. I mean, first of all, congratulations, obviously. So
Thanks.
you were totally in Dubai. Did you notice any Bitcoin stuff on the street there? Was there, you know, if they're trying to become a blockchain city, is it noticeable yet?
Not yet, but it's still early days. I mean, there's so many things about the city that are just so advanced. I mean, they just built an entirely new metro system in a couple of years, and it's just all this like robotic trains driving around. You know, when they do something, they do it quick. So although there's not much sign of things being done they don't use digital currency yet, but they've set up what's called they set up the global Bitcoin Foundation, or blockchain foundation. And they have what's called the Museum of the Future, so that they are getting into this stuff in a very, very quick time. And I would not be surprised if they have like a crypto version of the DRAM pretty soon.
Well, you guys heard it here first. Some on the ground information from Dubai. I mean, that is some cool news. All right, so let's move to the other side of the world here, down to Chile, where Gabriel is, and Gabriel's in charge of a project called Fort Galt that I think a lot of you are familiar with. Quickly go over, Gabriel, what Fort Galt is, but also the news that you have, the new project that is even beyond Fort Galt, and give us a Fort Galt update also, of course.
Yeah, in a nutshell, I mean, Fort Galt is a intentional community for entrepreneurs. So in my experience down here in Chile, there's a lot of help for people that want to create their own startups. So there's funding that comes from the state. There's a lot of mentoring. There's programs and stuff like that. So they're really good at attracting talent, but they're not so good at keeping it, because after the programs are finished, there's not much of a support system in place for the projects that got going. So what generally happens is these people find each other, they start up these great projects, and then they kind of all go back home to their home countries, and things fall apart and they lose contact, and it's just not a very cohesive system. So we kind of are answering that shortcoming by providing a place for these people to actually live and continue working on their projects here. So we sell land, and we also sell room in this main building that we're currently building right now. The idea being that it's kind of a tight-knit place for people like that to live while they're working on their projects. And so right now it's winter, it's raining like crazy here, and we're not able to do any construction until it dries up a bit, probably in September. So we've had some time to kind of sit back and think, what else can we be doing here? I mean, we have 100 acres of land. It's a great location. It's near Valdivia, which has 5 universities. I mean, we got to be doing something with this. So I'm starting a project called Crypt Academy. I just bought the domain, and I'm throwing up a landing page here today. I don't think you'll be able to see it just yet, but later today, it'll definitely be up. And the idea is that it's a physical interface to help people get using cryptocurrency, because especially down here, like, we don't have any kind of a centralized effort like in Dubai to kind of compel businesses or people to start using cryptocurrencies. It really has to be a grassroots effort. And people tend to be kind of suspicious of new things here, new concepts, especially from like foreign lands and things. So the reason I really like Steemit is that it provides a way for people to start, you know, acquiring their first cryptocurrency. And I thought, what would the physical version of that look like? You know, so I thought, okay, we need to build just a simple little school that people come to. It's a nonprofit, and the idea is to just help people start using it, you know, introduce them to all of these major cryptocurrencies, where they came from, what purposes they serve, how they work, how to mine them, how to trade them, all that basic stuff, just basic courses. People come for free, they learn, they leave with crypto knowing how to use it. And there would also be an outreach branch involved in this too. So touring around to all these various schools and businesses, putting on lectures, educational courses, things like that. So basically just physically trying to get people to use this stuff, because in the long run, I think that's what we're all kind of aiming for. And Bitcoin seems to still be kind of locked in this, okay, it's a great speculative investment. It's a great way to invest in your future. It's a great way to buy games online, but we're really lacking in the physical day-to-day, everyday use kind of aspect. So hopefully this will be a way to kind of help solve that.
Okay, this is totally awesome. I love that you're breaking the news here too, of course. So we're going to link to that eventually. I have some links up already to these guys' information. I know, Abraham, you, first of all, my esteemed panel here, if you have to feel free to ask each other questions. Abraham, you had something you wanted to say about South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, it's just what he just said really resonates with me, because in South Africa, people want Bitcoin. They just don't really know how. It's still quite a mysterious world. Not everyone can go onto an exchange, which can look quite scary sometimes. You've got candlesticks and things moving around. But people pay us in normal currency, and we give people the option of getting paid back in Bitcoin. And 75% of the people that pay in normal money want paid back in Bitcoin, because this is an easy way of getting it. People getting a rental income stream from it. And I think that's just fascinating, because it's shown that people that aren't Bitcoiners yet actually want to become one, but they just don't necessarily have the technological capabilities or understanding of doing it. And so there's very much an education thing, and it's things like Crypt Academy is such an awesome concept. And there's a couple of things in Cape Town. So there's the Blockchain Academy just downstairs from me. And there's even, you've met, is it Malakanani from Botswana, who's also got this Satoshi Center being set up?
I know of her. She is the big time Bitcoiner in Botswana. I know that. Yeah. So all educational, all crypto education establishments, I'm all for. Yes. So I wanted to point out one thing about it. I've actually met Abraham in person. We met at the in Cape Town in 2015 at the Bitcoin conference there, and that's where I met Laurie and Gamaroff too. So hey, man, if you go to these events, you meet some really awesome people. I wanted to add that, because Abraham, you've really grown this Sun Exchange from an idea back then. I mean, that was 2 years ago, into like an award-winning thing. You're in Dubai. I mean, this is just amazing, the progress, and I'm so happy to know all of these innovators that are here today. Yeah, I mean, it was literally just an idea. I remember Brock Pierce was presenting at that conference, Blockchain Capital, and I tried pitching to him, and I couldn't even explain to him what I was trying to do. And now we've just been working on it so hard. We've got such a great team now. We've just completely focused on what we're trying to achieve and how to do it, and keeping it simple. And I am also pleased with the progress we've made, but we still got a lot to do. I mean, you're just a great Bitcoin ambassador too, because you're using it for something already. You know, you're combining it with a really cool business. I mean, people like solar power. People like it's a combination of two pretty popular, innovative things. So I mean, I give you a lot of. I think they're the same. I think Bitcoin is to the world of money what solar energy is to the world of energy. They're both distributed. They're both decentralized, and they're both silicon based. So you've actually got by combining the two, you've got the foundation for a solid state, democratic, silicon-based economy, and that's beautiful. It is beautiful. Now, speaking of beauty, we started with Carlo here, and now I've forgotten about Carlo, but we're back to Carlo.
I've been in the chat. It's cool. I've been in the chat hanging out with everybody.
I did not forget about him. Now it's time to speak about Ethereum Classic and Ethereum in a positive way. I will and talk about, because people want to hear about Ethereum too. I mean, Ethereum has had a massive 10 days, I'd say. So first of all, I mean, you're an Ethereum Classic dude, obviously. Tell us about what's up with Ethereum Classic. I've got some questions for you, but also tell us what's going on with Ethereum too in your mind.
As you guys know, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about everything positive that's going on with ETC as well. So IOHK has the Grotendieck client, the ETC Scala client, that's going to be launching soon in the next couple of months. I believe we'll have an implementation completed sometime in August. It looks like that. It's a rough estimate though, since you know how software development is, and it's hard to give anything specific when there's so many blockers that can come up unexpectedly. But they made a lot of great progress, learned a whole bunch of things, and we're expecting great things from this client that's developed in Scala, which is a functional programming language. So we're really happy about that. And ETC Dev, which is the other group that's working a whole ton on ETC and doing a lot of great things. They have the Emerald wallet, which is going to be launched, as well as SPUTNIK. So I'll send you a couple of links to those, and you could put in the description of the video if anybody wants to check that out further. So we've got these two groups, and you know, we're all about lots of people contributing to the community, not just a single core being in control of anything specifically. So we've got people from all over the world, you know, working on improving the ETC and doing things in the ecosystem, and we're just going to keep trying to grow the community and keep pushing the protocol to its limits.
Well, everyone, pound that like button if you like hearing about altcoins, because we always talk about at least one altcoin on this show, and we do every week on Fridays. This Week in Bitcoin. Remember to tune in. It's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster. I have a follow-up question here, actually, and Ethereum is known now for a major use case of Ethereum are these ICOs. So a lot of people are saying that eventually, and it's already started a little bit, people are going to start building ICOs on Ethereum Classic. Have you heard any interest in this? Do you see this happening? And how do you see that affecting Ethereum and Ethereum Classic?
Well, you know, in my opinion, the ICOs, the ICO model, it's not the model, or it's not inherently bad. Just kind of like the IPOs in the late 90s. It's just a model for funding projects. Just because things end up bubbling up and a lot of projects that shouldn't get funded, it's not necessarily a negative on the funding model itself. I mean, the IPO model gave us a lot of great tech companies that still exist today. Now, eventually that turns into a system where it gets taken advantage of to a degree, and things happen that shouldn't happen. But just like people like to blame problems of the earth on money, money's just a tool, the same way that ICOs are a tool and so are IPOs. But yeah, we're not going to take any position promoting you know, ICOs, or you're trying to ban ICOs either. It's something that you can do with the platform, and if people choose to do this with ETC, then it's their right to choose to do with the protocol what they wish. And as you know, we've had this position for even the most negative things, like the DAO hack that occurred last year around, I mean, we're approaching the 1-year anniversary of getting listed on Poloniex and all that stuff. So for us to not intervene in something like that, we're not going to intervene in any of these ICO scenarios either.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Hopefully, our stance of not specifically trying to get involved in so many ways, shapes, or forms will maybe bring up the quality, and we'll have very high quality crowd funds that occur on ETC. But you know, time will tell.
Time will tell. Gabriel, I want to jump over to you real quick. You mentioned Steemit. Obviously, that is something that you are big into, and you were an early Steemit adopter and got a lot of, I mean, I think you got some people into it. Definitely. You've got a great Steemit. You're out there on Steemit. I want to know, down in Chile, I mean, obviously you're very busy. In the cryptocurrency community, is there any talk of any altcoins? Is Ethereum the talk of the town, like it is up, I guess, in New York? What's going on down there with altcoins and Ethereum? And what's your opinion?
No, honestly, no one's talking about it. No one seems to have any reason to. Bitcoin is still the hot new thing that everyone's just hearing about for the first time. You know, we're a little slower catching on to things down here. And honestly, the only reason anyone got interested in Bitcoin is because their national currencies keep falling apart. So Argentina fell apart a few years back and they jumped on Bitcoin because basically any other currency was outlawed there. They weren't allowed to buy US dollars. They weren't allowed to buy any other foreign currencies. They were stuck. And so their only option was to buy black market Bitcoin. So Bitcoin did very well there. And now in Venezuela, that whole country is burning to the ground. So they're starting to get interested in Bitcoin too. And altcoins too, because when you get into Bitcoin, ultimately you find out about all these other altcoins and you see how they're great speculations and you can potentially make some money on them. And so, yeah, I mean, ultimately they end up finding about all of the other ones too, but Bitcoin is always first.
Okay. I'm one thing about that you pointed out there. The currency in Chile, though, the Chilean peso has to be the most stable currency in all of South America. Am I not mistaken?
It's one of the most stable currencies on the whole planet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but still, you're saying there are people who do not trust it and want to get into Bitcoin.
Yeah, Chileans don't really have any problem with their financial system. The central bank is very well trusted. The state in general is pretty well trusted. It's a strange culture because they have all these other countries surrounding them that are just horrible by comparison. So when they see their neighbors all burning to the ground, they think they're pretty awesome. So they see no reason to look for other options out there. But there is a pocket of younger people in particular that are in the colleges and things like that that are finding out about cryptocurrency. And it's funny, I find that in the young crowd, when I was in Vancouver, more of a libertarian language seemed to work well, you know, in terms of like how Bitcoin is better than Federal Reserve notes and why the Fed should be ended and how we should get away from state control, all that kind of language seemed to work. Whereas here, it doesn't so much. There's not much of a right-wing appeal. There's not much of a libertarian appeal, but there's a lot of young socialist, commie kind of minded kids that are, they see problems with the state and they just jump to the conclusion that you got to fight the power and go all Che Guevara on shit. And so when you want to explain Bitcoin to them, generally it helps to use that kind of language, more focus on how it's a peer-to-peer system that allows you to transfer value between each other without using the state or without using banks. That's a big one. Cutting out the banks, really, they love that concept. So just tailoring your language to your audience makes a huge difference.
Awesome. I forgot to mention, and you guys probably can tell that Gabriel is from Western Canada, and there are so many. I don't know why Western Canada produces it, but they produce a lot of cryptocurrency enthusiasts. And also, Abraham Cambridge is originally from England, but he is in Cape Town. That's an important thing to point out. Just, I want to get everything straight. And it's funny, Gabriel says there's not a lot of mention on the streets of altcoins down there in Chile. And it made me think, I got to ask, it just triggered something in my mind. I got to ask Abraham, first of all, in Cape Town, he's hearing about Ethereum. But then I thought to myself, Ethereum, Abraham, I'm like, is he going to have an ICO? Have people come to him to ask him about an ICO? And then I see here in our private chat, like he's reading my mind or something. Abraham, take it away.
Okay, yeah. So you literally are hearing this first, and we're in Techstars at the moment, and you may have heard of Techstars. It's like one of the two main tech accelerators on the planet. And so Techstars have asked us whether we want to announce an ICO on stage at Techstars Demo Day on the 2nd of August. And we were already considering entertaining that. I mean, we're already a crowdsourcing capital platform. We're already using digital currency. Basically, our whole ethos suits raising capital through an ICO. But we don't want this. We are not a speculative company. We're about assured, secure returns from solar energy. We're not going to be a pump or dump. We know what we're doing. We've already got a track record, and we've seen so many companies who literally just on concept raising ludicrous sums of money. And I'm confident, I'm sure you guys are, that most ICOs are just going to fail, and it'll give everything a bad name. So we're going to do things in a very different way. It's going to be a 1-for-1 ICO token per solar cell. where each token actually represents a real physical solar asset and yields an actual forecastable return, and they will then be able to be traded as a yield-bearing digital currency token. So it's going to require some careful planning, and we've got to get obviously some decent blockchain lawyers involved to make sure it's all totally legal. We don't want to be shut down, but we're going to be doing an ICO, but it's going to be done differently, and it's going to be one that's not driven by speculation. It's really just a way for us to get large-scale solar projects funded in the quickest way possible.
Now, you know, when we met 2 years ago, Vinny Lingham spoke at that conference also, and he had an ICO with Civic. Are you familiar with that? I mean, it seems like you're trying to do a pretty conservative ICO, like Vinny did. And of course, is your ICO going to be? It's going to be built on Ethereum, I assume. Yeah.
So we obviously look at ERC20, but we would actually like to use Bitcoin as the currency. We still see that as the main monetary cryptocurrency. We would like to do that. So this is kind of what we're looking at right now. But of course, we need to be able to encode the tokens with basically the record of the solar asset that's assigned to. So basically, a digital asset representing a physical asset. It's getting those two linked together so that they can then be traded in a secondary marketplace. That's where the planning needs to come in. But of course, we've already got a track record of delivery. We've already got operating solar plants, so hopefully that will give people confidence that actually what we're doing, we'll be able to just do more of through an ICO. For example, we're just speaking to a company today. They're building out a vast network of solar microgrids throughout Africa, so villages that don't have any electricity at all. But banks don't lend to those kind of projects. They're not interested. I mean, the end customers don't have bank accounts. But to democratize this kind of financing through something like cryptocurrency and through an ICO, we could basically get that company to roll out all of their solar plants, electrify tens of millions of people in Africa with solar energy, while still enabling the people that financed it to earn a yield. I mean, it has to happen.
Wow. So you guys are getting great. I didn't even know this was going to be talked about today. You know, I didn't know the Sun Exchange had any ICO plans. I mean, this ICO. We talk about ICOs a lot on this show. We rarely. I mean, I think it's the first time we've had a guy who says, "I'm having an ICO." So this is just, this is awesome. This week in Bitcoin, people, pound that like button. You get all sorts of news here.
Yeah, it's a pre-announcement announcement, and our official announcement is going to be on 2nd of August. I'm literally giving you guys special heads up, bit of a preview. This is what we're working on, and yeah, watch the space.
Where is that conference, by the way, on August the 2nd?
It's in Cape Town.
Oh, I mean, I wish I could be there. Oh God, someone's trying to say something. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that I don't think anyone's doing ICOs anymore. They're crowd funds.
Yeah, but actually, I'll tell you what. Our ICO, we're not calling initial coin offering. It's an initial cell offering. It's an offering of our solar cells. It's still an ICO, just different.
Because I've been to a couple of conferences, and it's funny to hear, you know, some of the really well-known law guys and some of the, you know, SEC guys get up on stage and they're like, yeah, you guys should probably just call it like crowdfund or something else, as if that would protect all of us from anything. But I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it's really just an extension of what we're doing already. I mean, we're already financing solar plants and then representing them on the blockchain. But what we're doing is we're just bringing the blockchain representation forward, and it essentially enables to people to pre-buy solar assets that will exist, and then enable those to happen in a much faster timescale. So it's just a very suitable technology for what we're trying to do, because at the end of the day, all we do is we do crowd sales of solar assets. That's what we do on a daily basis. So we're just doing a crowd sale of digital tokens for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man, well, this is I've got an Ethereum question for you, Abraham. But before I ask you that, something else has popped up in the private chat here. Gabriel, would you like to share something of related to this?
I mentioned throwing up the website there for Crypt Academy, and at first, like for the first month or so, it's just going to be sort of a coming soon page, you know, with the countdown timer and, you know, where you can sign up for announcements and things like that. Basically, we're counting down to August 12th when we'll start crowdfunding the whole project. So that'll be fun.
Wow. So when you say crowd, I mean, is it an ICO or just crowdfunding in terms of
We're going to do both. We're going to do a hybrid campaign. Basically, I had some friends on recently on a show that I do separately, and they crowdfunded a project of theirs that was just like adult coloring books or something like that. But they were the first friends that I was able to talk to and really get their whole experience through the whole process and things. They used Kickstarter. And anyway, the way that they explained it is that when you set up the tiers and the perks and things like that, it's really advantageous to offer a high number of very low dollar perks and just get a whole bunch of people to grab them, because the mainstream media really watches these things. And when you get a whole bunch of people buying small perks like that, it bumps up to the top of the site and becomes very visible. And it's a good way to stir up media coverage and stuff like that. So we're thinking of using a conventional platform-based crowdfunding campaign to essentially attract attention and drive people over to the website where an ICO can simultaneously be taking place.
Okay. Just so you know, we launched our company on Indiegogo back in 2015. So I can gladly share with you all the experience we got from that. We learned a lot. There's various things you can do to help get yourself to the top of the land base. So private message me after and we'll give you a hand.
That's a perfect segue for the fact that I'm also putting together an advisory team, and I would love the Bitcoin Meister to be on the advisory team because I respect his opinion so much. And if you've got experience in this sort of thing, then I'd love to have you on board too.
No problem. Count me in.
Beautiful.
That is a good idea. Look at the networking that's going on this show. And I always tell everyone out there, always be in motion, always be networking. Look at it. It's going on publicly on this show. This is awesome. Real life stuff. Pound that like button. 103 live viewers now. Okay. News is happening on this show. This is a great way for me to get out of America. My last show in America until August. I'll be back. Don't worry. Okay. So Abraham, obviously Abraham, your knowledge of Ethereum has grown a lot since the last time I've had you on here. It has to have. Is there talk of Ethereum on the streets of, or on the crypto-related streets of South Africa?
The South Africa's second biggest Bitcoin exchange, which is ICE3X. You probably saw them present back in 15. They've just started a ZAR ETH pair. So you can now buy Ethereum straight on an exchange, not even through Bitcoin, a ZAR ETH pair. So that is happening. There's not too much liquidity, but at least it's there. And they are the first to do it. And there is actually a lot of expertise in Cape Town, particularly in Cape Town. There's got the blockchain cabin upstairs. There's Gavin Marshall, who's he's very, very well renowned, at least in this country, in Ethereum. So there's a lot of talent here, but it's still fairly early days. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin is so popular in South Africa because people need it. It's so hard to get money in and out of the country. And then that's why there's such a premium on it in this country. And there's like a 5 to 10% arbitrage because of the demand for it. There's the demand is outstripping supply.
Well, I mean, also deep down, many South Africans understand that rand. I don't trust that rand very much. The South African rand, that's the currency there. It can fluctuate. I mean, the government there spends and spends. I mean, that is not a cool currency in my mind. I would be trying to change my rand into Bitcoin as quick as possible down there.
Yeah, but Adam, the rand has animals on the backs of them. You know, you can't diss a rhino on the back of a note.
No, definitely. There are some cool looking bills there. I got to give you that. I also want to add, I'm glad you're giving shout outs to Cape Town. I got to give shout outs to Johannesburg. Lorian Gamaroff, I hope you're watching this. I'm giving that one's for you, man. Lorian Gamaroff, a big time Bitcoiner there. And you, Abraham, bring up the fact that now, yes, you can use your South African rand on that exchange to straight up buy Ethereum, and that's big. And that news made it to America, and I actually did cover that on a show of mine recently. But I'm glad you brought that up again. Are there any other besides Bitcoin and Ethereum? Any other altcoins that people talk about?
Yeah, they do. They also have Litecoin pair, and I think that's really it. I mean, Bitcoin is obviously particularly with like my age group, sort of the early 30s, late 20s. More and more people are getting onto it. People had never ever expected. It's becoming very popular, particularly kind of the underground dance music scene. It's becoming popular. It's becoming the currency of choice at music festivals now.
That is crazy.
That is wild.
Let's follow. Okay, wait, Carl, you're about to say something.
No, I had a question. So in reference to the music, you mean like purchasing the tickets or just P2P transactions that occur?
Yeah. At festivals, people were trading between themselves using Bitcoin. I mean, wow. My friend runs a T-shirt shop at the festival. He runs a stand, and I just bought it. I just bought with Bitcoin, and he's gone and bought food with Bitcoin. It's just that's what people are doing.
Speaking of T-shirts, you can get T-shirts just like this from Cryptography. Go down to the links section below. Use the Meister discount, 10% discount, I believe it is, because people have been asking about these T-shirts, and I'm going to keep wearing them every single show. I don't care how sweaty I get in Hong Kong. These are going to wear these over and over again. Carlo, you know, we've strayed away from some of the main Bitcoin topics of the week. And I want to hit them because it's very important to get a worldwide view of these. Segregated witness, we're getting closer. Obviously, Barry Silbert is playing a big role in it, whether people like it or not. He was behind the New York agreement. Barry Silbert is a huge name in Ethereum Classic also. So, Carlo, I want to hear your opinion on what you think is, are you calm about the scaling debate in Bitcoin? And do you think that Barry Silbert's involvement in this, if he comes out being a hero, and I'm not saying he is that going to help Ethereum Classic?
Well, I mean, I think it's still somewhat divided. There's people who like the SegWit 2x. There's people who don't like the SegWit 2x. There's even people who don't like the SegWit 2x New York agreement, but they like that it got people talking again and can actually move things ahead. So there's a whole range of opinions on this whole thing. But I think anything that gets, at least my opinion, anything that gets people talking again where they weren't talking before is a benefit, in my opinion, regardless of what the proposal is or what the proposal isn't. If people were at odds at one point and then they can come to some sort of consensus to at least speak again and understand what their motivations are or aren't. Also, I think I posted this on some of your other shows that I watched in the chat in reference to the ASIC boost and Jian Wu. You know, a lot of people like to demonize him and all this stuff when the whole point of Bitcoin is to everyone to pursue their own interest. Now, I'm not a fan of the whole ASIC boost thing and this whole scaling debate road blockage, but I think the truly voluntary way for this to get resolved is for people to reverse engineer ASIC boost. Then all the other miners have ASIC boost, and then his advantage is negated. And then he'd be okay with SegWit because the advantage that he has with not running SegWit doesn't exist anymore. So I think the whole demonization of him when he's just doing exactly what Bitcoin is intended to do, everybody pursue their own interests and things work out okay, I think is a bit much. But yeah, I think getting people talking again, which it looks like that's what Barry has done, is a positive in my opinion.
Well, I think people just don't think if he's trying to make Bitcoin into two different Bitcoin, that's not too cool. I mean, I think that's where a lot of the so-called demonization is coming. I mean, if he's trying to, people think he's trying to break Bitcoin, and that's not going to get you a good reputation. And I want to you have been obviously through a coin splitting into two. I mean, you know better than anyone what happens. I mean, do you agree that Bitcoin needs to avoid a contentious hard fork?
I would absolutely love to avoid a contentious hard fork. I don't want that. But what I'm saying is, if a contentious hard fork can break Bitcoin, Bitcoin was never Bitcoin. A chain that breaks and neither chain exists anymore, it just, in my opinion, it wasn't meant to be. So I'm not particularly worried. I think if a break were to occur that I don't want to happen, if it is what I think it is, everything will be all right. And if it wasn't meant to be, if it wasn't really going to change the world in the ways that we think it can and will, then it will fade, you know, to fade out of existence. But that's just my opinion on the matter. So I'm obviously the worry is the ups and downs of the roller coaster market, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, I sleep fine at night just because I'm not particularly worried.
Awesome. I want to go down to Gabriel down in Chile. I often say I interact with a lot of people through my client base and everything. And hey, if anybody wants a crypto consultation, you know, contact me, adam@tresorhelp.com. We can set it up. I have got clients all over. It's a lot of fun. I often say how a lot of them have no clue about the scaling debate or SegWit and could care. They don't care. They don't even want to hear about bit 148, bit this, bit the other. Gabriel, in Chile, do people know about the scaling debate? Is it something that's even on your radar?
No, I mean, there's a few people, like there is an exchange based in Santiago. And when you go on the exchange and you start meeting people, like there is a bit of a community that's really into it, but it's very small numbers. It's a very specialized nerd thing still.
All right. So this lends to some people's opinion that, you know, some of this is being blown out of proportion a lot because they're people who get into Bitcoin. They're golden holders, or they want to buy tickets to alternative festivals or whatever. So Abraham, in South Africa, do you hear a lot about the scaling debate, and what's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to judge generally, but I mean, I work in this sector, so of course we talk about it. But I'm of the opinion that it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be cool. It's not like this is the first time there's something there's been debate on what should happen. It's all been costed in. The technology will sort itself out. The correct version will win. Time will tell, but I'm convinced that it is going to be cool, and we're not concerned. We're going to carry on using Bitcoin. People carry on using Bitcoin, and it will just be better. It'll be faster.
You see here, we're getting some perspective, my loyal viewers, outside of our little bubble here on YouTube, where we watch the same people over and over again and worry about the same things over and over again. There's a huge Bitcoin world out there, and I stress that word world. And there are other concerns, and people are confident things are going to be good. And again, I am proud that on this show, I'm giving you guests from around the world. Nothing wrong with having dudes just in North America. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I love it. We can get an African perspective and a South American perspective. And I want to go back to Gabriel. Do you think, you obviously know about the scaling debate. How do you see this turning up? Are you worried, or what's going on in your head?
I'm not really worried. I mean, things just have a way of working out for themselves because it's a free market atmosphere. I mean, there's always competition, and therefore there's always an incentive to get your shit together before you fall by the wayside and everyone just starts to use something else.
Excellent. Excellent. I want to transition over to Carlo now, and we're getting toward the end of the show. So you guys on my panel, prepare anything that you want to mention that I didn't bring up. But Carlo, you've got 2 things that you want to bring up, actually.
Yeah. It's still going back to the SegWit. There's 2 good links that I'll send over to you, and maybe you could post in the description of the show. One was a really great post, I think, by Luke Dash in the Bitcoin Reddit, and he just kind of put a different spin on the debate that's going on. It was about he made it not so antagonistic. He made it accessibility from, you know, the miners that were looking for bigger blocks, and then people that were interested in decentralization. Now, I'm not explaining this as well, but I'll make sure to get that link over to you so you can post it for anyone interested. And it was, you know, a great mending post, and it took on less of a conflicting tone. So I think it was really great. As well as Andreas did a great talk on this about the difference between the attitudes of software developers and the difference of hardware people. And he had a great analogy with Boeing. I don't know if anybody else saw that. And he talked about the difference between software, when you launch something and you want to change something, you change it and push a release, but hardware, it affects your trajectory, 3 years, 5 years, maybe even decades down the road. So just the difference in attitude between the Chinese miners and people that are software developers from, over here is much different. That being said, I personally support Core in everything that they do, and whatever chain they're on is the chain that I want to be a part of personally. But I do, as much as I support Core and everything that they do and how much I'll be with them going forward, no matter what they do, I do empathize with the miners and some of their concerns as well, being hardware people.
Excellent. And I want to say, and I've said this a few times, user-activated soft fork, people keep on talking about it. It's leverage. It's leverage. Keep the leverage up over the miners and everything. And I think it's going to work out.
I love it. It's the Bitcoin version of a veto. I think it's fantastic.
All right, now Carlos, since I got you talking and everything, is there anything that I left out? Any conclusionary remarks that you wanted to say about any topic in cryptocurrency?
There's a whole ton I'd like to talk about, but I take security very seriously, so I'll just reiterate the Classic Ether wallet domain name is compromised at the moment. If anyone goes there, it should come up with a phishing scam warning, so that should be okay. But just to reiterate that, and we're in control of the situation, and we should have that site back up and in our control ASAP.
And I thank you for that public service announcement. That is very helpful. I want to remind all the viewers too that all three of these guys are going to send me some more links. So I'm going to add some links to the notes section. We already have some down there now, but always check out the notes section. Once the show is done in 10, 20 minutes afterwards, you'll see the new links added there. All right. Let's move on to Gabriel. Do you have anything you wanted to add? Anything you wanted to promote? Anything you want to share? Go. The floor is yours.
I think I pretty much did that. By the end of the day, we'll have cryptacademy.com up, so everybody can check that out, get on the mailing list, and we'll keep you up to date as that transpires.
Excellent. And Abraham, we'll let you have the final word.
Yeah, please just go check out the Sun Exchange, register, follow us. We've got some amazing projects coming up, so you can convert your digital currency, whatever it is, whether it be Dash, Ethereum, you can now convert it into solar panels powering Africa.
Excellent, excellent. Well, hey, the show has gone by fast. It's been a great show, a worldwide show, a show I'm very proud of. I want to thank my guest from all over the world for being on, and I want to thank all the viewers. We've got 128 live viewers right now. You're coming from all over the world too. It's the middle of the day here in America, but this is convenient for Europeans and Africans also. So I thank all of you. Please pound that like button. It does spread the word, and it helps everyone learn about this show. And again, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Always check out the notes section below. We post a new video here every day. Even tomorrow, somehow I'm going to post a new video. It might be a little familiar to you, so it might not be that new for some of you, but it's a travel day, so it's going to be a little different. Anyway, and we're here every Friday for This Week in Bitcoin. Thanks a lot, everyone, for being here. I will see you later. Bye-bye. See you later.
Thanks for having us on. Yeah.